So, Poke, now that you're on mute and you're not playing World of Warcraft anymore, why don't you go ahead, do the dance, or adjust your hat, whichever. That works too. You're like, you're. There we go. Thank you. It's a staple.
In 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, Knights of Deathbridge proudly brings to you Warcraft Nightly News with your hosts, Darrick Scott and Poke Soul. Good evening and welcome to Warcraft Nightly News. We are the only broadcast that happens to not have a BlizzCon hangover. I am your host, Darrick Scott. With me is the man, the myth, the legend, and sometimes a WoW player, Poke Bear. On this week's episode, we're going to be going over the elephant in the room, BlizzCon. And everything that we saw and got to taste, and it was spectacularly glorious. You can see me tenting my fingers. It was that good. Alrighty, Poke, why don't you come off mute? It's been about 2 weeks since we did our last show. So why don't you tell everybody hello?
Hello.
No, okay, cool. Apparently there's an internet connection. It's just going to keep popping up that there's an internet connection. Gotta love Skype. Anyways, so what did you think of BlizzCon? Before we get into all of the gory details.
There was more than I expected, but also less than I expected at the same time.
Right?
There was some stuff that was talked about that I was like, why are we spending so much time talking about this? And then there were other things that I felt like they could have talked more about. But I guess, they were trying to spread things out and give everyone equal time. And other people may care about these things more than I do. So
Yeah.
But it was a very informative, not so WoW packed, but
Yeah. Actually, okay. So I'm not sure if anybody actually caught this and or paid too much attention, but for the first time in the 10-year history of BlizzCon, World of Warcraft was not in the opening ceremony. They didn't announce a darn thing, but everybody was wearing their Legion shirts. I was like, what? Why is this not like this is what put Blizzard on the map, sort of, like it's Warcraft. Talk about the sequel to the movie. Talk about, the opening of Tomb of Sargeras. These are major events that are about to happen. But it was nice to see Overwatch getting the biggest announcement to date. We're going to be doing a breakdown of everything that happened on BlizzCon later on this week. We were tangoing with the idea of doing just a BlizzCon show, but we've decided that we're going to do that later on in the week so that we can kind of declutter the information that we want to share. So we're going to be talking all about World of Warcraft tonight and what we can expect. Holy crap! The information that they did not share during the opening ceremony was actually kind of momentous. Poke, where do you want to start? Because there was so much info, but so little info all at the same time. It was like Chinese food.
I am good with starting really anywhere. Everything was very interesting. Obviously there's a couple of things that are kind of more interesting. But
Well,
I'm good with talking about really any of it.
let's start with this with patch 7.1.5. I think that's probably our best place to start. They announced that we are getting a mini patch.
Yeah,
And
Twitter integration.
yeah, Twitter. That was when they said 7.1.5. I was like, Twitter integration.
You saw the patch they compared it to, right?
Yeah, Twitter integration.
This is like, really? This is the patch we're going to compare this to?
Now they called it a mini patch. I think that's kind of entertaining, because of the fact that they're not going to be adding in like huge momentous things like new zones or anything like that. They deconstructed the way that they used to do their patches, where there were like 3 major patches that anchored an entire expansion. They had little hot fixes all the way through, but what they're trying to do now with these mini patches is add a little extra gameplay here and there, and a little bit more here and there, so that we have more content to be able to do as we are moving forward, instead of waiting 32 or 15 months for the new expansion or a new raid or anything like that. And so this mini patch is going to add some balancing. Mainly it seems like it's going to be all about PvP. And fixing the balancing there in PvP. What did you think of all of that?
I mean, there's a lot of stuff that they can do with PvP now. They have a lot of I think they referenced it as buttons and knobs that they can turn.
Yes.
To adjust and fix PvP, and it's going to be difficult to do. I haven't messed with PvP as much as I have in previous patches because I feel like I spend a lot of time farming artifact power. But the PvP is good from what I've talked to with people. The only complaint that I keep hearing is the fact that it's hard to gear your character and stay relevant if you're not doing other things besides PvP.
Yeah.
So I didn't hear them address that at all in anything they talked about, which really surprised me.
Yeah.
I feel like they might just be ignoring that fact because they know that it's a thing. And there's really not much they can do about it without handing out gear for PvP, which then upsets people who aren't PvP.
It's this weird sort of balance. Like, there is PvP gear and more PvP gear in the game than they actually let on that there was going to be when we were talking about Legion coming up. When you're looking at your world map and world questing, there is so much PvP gear that is extra, that is dropping, like trinkets and cloaks. And I even saw a chest piece the other day, and I'm like, really? I was pretty sure that we were only supposed to get rings and necks that had PvP stats on them, but no, what do I know? What do I know? They changed their mind. And honestly, I'm kind of happy that they did, because it gives the PvPers something to work for. I kind of felt that PvPers were going to get basically railroaded into having to do PvE in order to be gearing and to be relevant in PvP, which seemed to be kind of one of those things that was a little confusing. I tried to stay positive about it. I'm not a big PvPer. I liked the idea that they were going to a unified stat form, instead of having, like your PvP gear had instead of needing mastery and haste, you're getting crit. You need crit and versatility. So I like that they were going to a unified stat so that, people like you and me could go ahead and start PvPing, but they needed to have some sort of PvP stat attached to all of the pieces of gear in order to be able to do that. And so now it kind of just left the PvPers in the lurch. The one thing though that they did say was that they were going to reevaluate the honor talents, and added in, and they want to add in some extra cool rewards that should pique interests of all players, to make it so that people will go in PvP rather than thinking it's some sort of dirty second cousin that you don't invite to family vacations. I don't know. What do you think that this is going to create people to want to go and play?
Well, I mean, we talked about it before going into this, and I thought it would cause people to want to play in PvP more. The classes are very unbalanced on the PvP side until you start unlocking PvP talents.
Yeah.
And I know that doesn't make sense, but at the same time does make sense to anybody who's looked at it. For instance, Shaman. The healing Shaman doesn't get Earthshield until they're like level 34 PvP or somewhere around there, which is just insane. Like, that's been a staple to the character. And Elemental Shamans, Resto Shamans, Enhancement Shamans, all three of the Shamans are just squishy. And getting started is really hard. Now, I've read and heard that as you get further on, your character becomes more viable, and you're definitely a force to be reckoned with. But starting out is much more difficult than I would even say the gear issue was back in the day. I don't think we realized the level of ability they were taking away and putting in these honor trees.
Yeah.
It's a very important abilities to survivability. You've heard me say 1,000 times on my Elemental Shaman, I have one survivability cooldown. Outside of that, if something happens during a raid, I'm dead. Like, there's no surviving it. I get my 40% damage reduction, and then I have Gift of Naru only because I'm Drawn Eye. And if I didn't have that, I probably wouldn't make it through most things with just my original cooldown.
Yeah.
And we watch our shamans in raid die all the time. And it's not something, things happen, you make a mistake and you get killed. But this is flat out like you're doing what you're supposed to with the fight, and your character isn't capable of surviving it. Like, it's insane sometimes.
Yeah.
And it's because they put it all in that PvP side. So I hope that it helps drive people that direction. And I hope as they're tweaking it, they realize that and give some of this survivability and just all around support abilities back to these characters that have had.
All right, so sorry about that. For those people that didn't know, the person that walked through my office door was my lovely wife and raid healer. So where were you? Where were you when I told you, hey, hold on a second?
I believe we were talking about changing around, and hopefully they give back the utility and support that some of these characters had, which I think they did, somewhat address that. They said they want to improve the feel of the classes, and some of the utility may go back to classes that were pruned a bit much. I don't know, though. I feel like in some cases, like, okay, Prop Paladin. Everything I've read has said that Prop Paladin is very boring and you only hit buttons here and there. But I feel like there's constantly something to be used on the Prop Paladin versus, like Elemental Shaman, I just spam Lightning Bolt unless something else is up that's more powerful. Like, it's
yeah.
I don't know. It's one of those things. I guess we'll see. Love both of the classes. Love the game in its entirety. Like, I'd just like to see some of that survivability come back if they want to open up the doors to people and getting them into different areas of the game.
Yes, I absolutely agree. Now, one thing that we are going to get in 7.1.5, or at least that is the way that I interpreted it. I could be completely wrong, but we're going to get new world quests and daily quests that should actually move the story along. So those people that have been doing their Suminar weekly know how this is kind of gonna work. That we're going to get some questing that is only done once a week that'll move that story along, and I'm just like, that's kind of smart. I hate to kind of say it, but right now all that we're having to do is log in, do our emissary quests, which are fun and they're great, but there isn't a lot of story. There is no reason behind having to go out and do these things. Like, why am I going to Thunder Totem every 4th or 5th day and making a piece of crafted gear? Only one piece. Here, have these boots. Thank you. I'm not really doing much here. And really it's kind of a cool thing that they're going to add the whole idea that there are going to be story points added to these quests, because that will increase the playability. What do you think? Good idea? Bad idea?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's great to keep things constantly changing and moving forward and not just getting stale and letting it sit. So yeah, I think it's a great idea.
Yeah, like it's going to go back and it's going to feel very similar to it's going to feel very similar to opening up the world tree, where you got to do all of the quests to make it feel like you were accomplishing something. I like that particular idea. Now they started talking about using PvP in world quests and world PvP quests and stuff like that, and they feel that they're not as successful.
Well, I mean, okay, it goes back to the what we were talking about with the lack of survivability for some characters, and if you don't do that stuff all the time and you're not leveled up in PvP, you're just getting smoked in these areas.
Yeah.
And there are people now camping them just to kill people like that. Because you see that big fat 7,000 artifact power on that PvP quest, and you look at your regular quest and it's 2,675, and you're like, I'm going to go get that 7,000 one. And then you get over there and you get killed 400 times, and you're like, well, okay, I'm going to go back and get my 2,001. I'm never coming back here again. If I ever see 7,000 on my map again, I'm just going to say forget it. So,
Yes, I know. I know.
It's disheartening for people. Now, on the flip side of that, some of them are super easy, so I encourage people to continue doing them. The ones where you go to the top of the tower, you just sprint to the top of the tower, kill the guy. If anything follows you, you kill that, and then you head back down killing things, and you're good. The ones where you have to go into areas and anyone can kill you, those are a little more not enjoyable. I will say that.
Yeah.
Because you're either the guy killing people or you're the guy getting killed. And if you're the guy killing people, then you're getting message of how terrible of a person you are because you went there and people were killing you and you started killing back, and now you're a terrible human being for that. But anyway, we won't go into the things that happen when I go to the PvP areas. We'll say I've seen both sides of it, and it's not super enjoyable. I had a guy call me quite a few names because I killed him, but there were people in the area killing me, and I was like, okay, I'm no longer risking letting someone get near me. If you get within spell distance, I'm going to blast your face off.
Yep.
That's how it went down.
Fair enough. That's kind of the nature of a PvP world quest.
You're right. Yeah, like at first, for like the first couple of weeks, everyone was cool, and I seen people zipping past each other, and we're all doing our quests, and it was like, oh man, we're getting this stuff done. people got bored and they decided that killing other players was much more enjoyable than actually doing the quest. So they just sit there and wait to kill other people. I've literally seen them standing in the doorways of the areas, like in the little hall, like the little paths, and just waiting. And as soon as you cross that line, they're like, "Shoot, you're dead." And it's like, are you kidding me? I didn't even make it all the way into the area.
Yeah, well, that kind of seems like that's kind of the point. Now, not gonna lie, they should have probably have had something else, like, you needed to kill X number of people in this PvP zone instead of having to kill crabs.
Well, I think the deal with that is okay, you go over there at 2:00 in the morning, there's no one.
Yeah.
And you can get your quest done super easy.
Yeah.
If there was no one there, though, you wouldn't be able to kill players. I hope they add in some, like, I don't know, maybe some arena style battles where, which I know they're revamping the Blades Edge arena, but I mean more, just flat out arena style battles where you just go in there and the one who wins, whatever, something. I really don't care what. Those things were so much fun back in, they had one in Vanilla down near Booty Bay.
Yeah.
And they had, a couple here and there, and they've got the one in, whatever zone it is. Is it?
Are you thinking of the one that's in Outlands?
No, the one that's in current. There's a current arena where you fight bosses, but you also fight players.
Yeah, that's kind of cool, actually. I do like that.
Yeah, more things like that, but maybe more policed, so you're not like 2 shots away from killing a boss and some, piece of crap jumps in there, shoots you, and then kills the boss. Because that happens way more often than it should. Not gonna lie, I've done it, but
yeah,
way more than it probably should. So. Yeah, just let's make it a little easier for people to get into it, because that was the whole point of this. And I don't know. If I were new to PvP, I think I would feel even more set back by this than I did by just the gear being different.
Yeah, I absolutely agree. Now I'm gonna talk about the next one that I find kind of weird before we get into some of the other gooder stuff. They're adding in micro holidays. Okay, I don't quite understand this one. I don't understand why we're getting these, but they're going to add these holidays in that are relatively pointless. They're gonna have Boat Day.
Well, like when I heard the beginning of the idea, I thought it was a great idea. Like, yeah. Break up the monotony, add in some things that keep people from doing the same thing over and over. But then when they said, literally, they said there will really be no reward from this.
Yeah, it's just something new to do. Just
go and remember on Courage.
Yeah, on January the 22nd. That's it. So
yeah. I'm remembering it, and now I'm done. I'm gonna go back doing world quests that get me artifact power.
Yeah.
Bye.
Yeah.
I mean,
today, I'm going to join the volunteer guard day. I'm just going to wander around Stormwind. Wait, do that anyways, while I'm trying to figure out what I'm going to do for the day. So now,
or I can go do a world quest and get artifact power.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm not 100% sure what the actual point to this is.
I hope that when they say no reward, they mean no let me think of a good word for this. No play increasing reward. So no reward that's going to make your character better.
Yeah.
But maybe some rewards that are like, hey, here's a whatever.
Well, they did.
You know.
They did add the hatching of the hippogriffs, where you get the baby hippogriff that'll perch on your shoulder.
Now that's only the one though. Like
I know,
right? So
like
everybody's gonna wait for the hatching of the hippogriff micro holiday and just forget the rest of them, except for on Crunch, because they will remember that because it's Remembrance Day. So
No, most people are going to forget on Garage. They will.
I mean, even if you got like a token that was like you were in a you were in a micro holiday, you helped during a micro holiday,
Yeah.
and you got like a token, and then after you get 50 tokens, you can turn those in and get a micro holiday mount or whatever the case may be. Something, because I don't see why people would want to do them besides being like, oh hey, it's boat day, there's a boat, yay.
It's spring break for Azeroth. Come on, man.
Yay!
Let's get drunk and put on slutty transmogs and run around and see if we can catch the clap.
If
you know,
go to boat day, you get slutty transmogs and you get the clap.
Yeah,
that would be something I would go to boat day for.
I know, but right now, no, there's no reason. You just go, hey, look at me, motherfucker! I'm on a boat. I got my flippy floppies. Like, I mean, that's it.
Flippy floppies. Yeah. I want a auto tuner. I want. There are things that I want for participating in boat day. I don't. Dolphin maybe. Like,
it's funny that you're saying you want things for boat day, and we talked about you getting the clap.
That's something at least. You have something to show for boat day. When you enter raid, other people around you must inject you with penicillin.
If you have to take res sickness, instead of it being a 10-minute debuff, it's a 20-minute debuff, and unless somebody gives you penicillin.
You cast the kill spell on you.
If you stack on somebody for more than 30 seconds, they can catch the clap as well.
That would be something that would give me a reason to participate in boat day. But,
yeah.
I don't know.
I don't know. I think other good micro holidays is Garrison Day, a day where you get to go back to your garrison and farm up all of your herbs and mine.
You were in Garrison Day where we just go back and burn it to the effing ground.
Yeah, I think that would be another good that would be a good holiday.
Your garrison.
Yeah, other cool micro holidays would be Booty Bay Day, where everybody just goes to Booty Bay and stands around and does nothing. I've been trying to get people to do that for years, so now you can make that a micro holiday. So I don't know. I really honestly am not 100% sure about this one. I kind of scratched my head going, what the fuck are you guys thinking? Like, did you guys really need to get out? Like, there was a board meeting and you guys are all sitting around going, hey, we need something new. Let's do micro holidays. All right, good idea. Let's go drink. And that was it. Like, because this is kind of one of those pants on head retarded things. However, on the flip side, we are getting new time walking dungeons. Miss Pandaria will be joining the fray. And we're getting six new dungeons, and well, they're not really new. They're just new to the Time Walking family. I hope that they're not as tuned as BC was, because there are some that even at our item level that I just go, why is this so incredibly hard, and I'm getting next to no reward. Hello. This is like a micro holiday. But being able to go back and revisit some of the dungeons that have built and made our past is kind of cool. I do really, really enjoy the time walking dungeons. I am just really upset that they haven't added in time walking raids. And they call time walking raids apparently mega dungeons, but things to that nature.
I mean, even if it was like a time, because like I read something, now not around this, but something in the past where there was an article and they had talked about like raids were so time consuming, and a time walking raid would be that time consuming, I'd be fine with like time walking bosses, where it was like a single boss from a raid, and you
Yeah.
went back and did that boss.
Yeah.
And then it wouldn't be so time consuming for people. Or maybe like a wing, of a different raid or something. But anyway,
Yeah.
they could break it down. It wouldn't have to be a full 10 or 12 boss raid. They could do a couple, 3 bosses or something. The end of the raid maybe, or something like that, and
Build
people,
it into a scenario, sort of a deal, and
yeah. So you're still getting that experience of that boss and going back and doing it the way it was then.
yeah.
But maybe just a boss or two, and because I get it, like some of those raids, like Ulduar, you're talking 6 or 8 hours of raiding. Back in the day. Now a good group that knows what they're doing could probably run through that in a few hours, but still you're talking a few hours for time walking,
Yeah.
which is gaining you not as much as you would get normally. So
Maybe time walking Illidan, that would make some sense here, but I mean, it's not like he's not a major player here in Legion,
True.
but bringing us back to Canada there, for time walking seems to make the most amount of sense. They did have to point out the fact that apparently nobody wants to go back to Draenor because it was too fresh. That and the dungeons were not as fun as Boat Day.
I like some of their ideas with dungeons with that. That expansion, but it makes me wonder what their excuse is going to be next expansion when they say no one wants to go back to Draenor. It's been long enough now, just really nobody wants to do it, so we're just going to skip it again.
Yeah. So congratulations, guys. Here's your free pass. So yeah, there's that. Now they are bringing back the Brawlers Guild. I am so excited for this. I actually really liked the Brawlers Guild. I did not much care for it last expansion because it was the exact same thing. And you spend a lot of time waiting around for your turn to get into the arena, and yeah, to fight the same bosses that you did, but now with less utility. Was not as much fun as the entire expansion of Warlords of Draenor. So they went ahead and they fixed it from the ground up. It is going to be a completely different Brawlers Guild. We're going to get dozens of new bosses, which I think is awesome. There is now a new battle type that can occur. Now, this one had me a little confused at first. It's called a rumble. Okay? Where we get dragged in to the arena itself, all of us that are standing around, and we get raid level bosses that basically it kills some time. We're going to be able to kill them. We're going to get a new currency for it. And we're going to be able to buy t-shirts and possibly a new mount, which is awesome. I'm legitimately excited for that. It's going to make that wait time not as unbearable, because you can't leave. Like when you queue for the LFR or a dungeon and you can go farming or you can go do some world quests, you have to stand there and wait. And then wait some more.
Well, that's actually what I thought about too. And my wonder and worry is, what about people who are going to AFK just camp in there? And I hope that we see something that can help eliminate that. I know that it's very hard for Blizzard and any other game to eliminate those things, but I hope they try to eliminate it to some extent.
Yeah, I agree, and I can see why they actually held off putting the Brawlers Guild back in right at the very beginning of the expansion. There's so much to do at level 110 that this would just be another thing, and it would be lost in translation.
That's one thing that I can say about this expansion. There is no lack of things to do. Like if you log on and you honestly can say, I have nothing that I can do today, then you're either doing something wrong or you're not level 110 yet. Like,
Yeah.
there is so much to do on your character that you just constantly have a plethora of things to do every day, all the time.
Yeah. So the other thing that we're going to get is a lot more changing of classes. They took a look at everything that we have been taking as talents, and well, some of those talents that are like just an automatic, you take it because, well, it's the only one that's good on that entire row. That is basically, you know, a staple of say a shaman or a guardian druid. They're actually going to take out of the talent tree and they're going to build it right back in.
Well, and like I have a question for you about that.
Yeah.
The statement was there are some talents that are never worth considering. These talents may need tuning or redesign.
Mm-hmm.
The talents that are 98% of the players are taking may just need to be baked into the spec. Do you agree with that statement? Or
yes.
Like, okay, now see, here's my thing. I have talents in my build that I'm going to take as a shaman, and anyone else is going to take as a shaman, but I don't think it's the basis of being a shaman. It's the fact that the other two talents suck.
Well, yeah, there's that side of it as well.
So I feel like doing one or the other would kind of fix the problem. We don't have to do both. Like,
well, no, I think that honestly we do have to do both. I think that they're starting to realize that the player base feels that some of the things that made their classes were things like bark skin. Instead of having to take it as a talent, which I know that I'm going to an extreme, that's not actually one of those talents. But you know, you have to pick a talent based off of that would make a druid be a druid. Seems kind of silly.
I mean, I guess I could see that because like shamans in their one of our final elemental is Ascendance, which was a shaman ability.
Yeah.
For a very long period of time, and has now been added to the spec, and you have to choose.
Yeah, like that just is like silly. Like that should not be a talent. That should be, well, as they put in, baked into the spec. I that was just a weird choice of words, like baked in.
Yeah.
But yeah, like it. Some of those were just very confusing. Other things that like they could have done instead of putting them in as a talent is putting them as an artifact trait or something like that. But you know, things to that nature, like, you know, a resto shaman gets the ability to take a talent that allows them to have a 10-minute cooldown on you know, reincarnate instead of the 30-minute, and I think that was fantastic because that pairs up with something that is a shaman rather than
now. Question there is though, like, you're taking a talent which is supposed to drastically change your character's capability.
Yeah.
But you're choosing something that allows you to have a 10-minute reincarnate versus a 30.
Yeah.
Now, not saying that people shouldn't choose that, but my argument there would be, how crappy does the other two talents have to be that you're willing to take a 10-minute versus 30-minute cooldown on your reincarnate? Like,
well, it's not actually a talent; it's an artifact talent.
Yeah,
but
just again as an example, like, or one that I know right just for a fact. In the shaman specs, there are elemental shaman abilities that you just look at it and you're like, why the hell would I even that's the dumbest thing I've ever seen in my life. I will say though, looking through my shaman and looking through my paladin, and you witnessed this recently, I was running the cookie cutter in quotes shaman build.
Yeah.
And I was like, God, I'm struggling so bad. Like, why am I struggling? Why am I struggling? And on raid bosses, I was blowing up. but on any tragedy, mythic dungeons, mythic pluses especially, it was so slow because I had no DPS for trash. I went through that spec and changed it to something completely different that, like, I don't think I found any website that told me to do it this way, and I'm now pulling, if not top of the numbers on trash pulls, very close.
Yeah.
And it, like, now there are certain bosses, if I don't change my spec back, then I suck on that particular boss. But there are other bosses that I was awful at, like the Eye. The Eye this week, I was second on damage meter in our guild. I was like 10th on the damage meter every time we've done that. And this week I was like second on the meter because I changed the spec. I don't think I've ever seen the game like that.
No.
Since they went to these new specializations. And it's not just Shaman. The same thing happened on my Paladin. There are so many options now that are so close and are so different for different fights that you almost have to change things up occasionally to keep your character being relevant for specific fights if you're those people who want to push that. Now, don't get me wrong, if you leave your character the way it is and you're okay with being lower on some fights and higher on others, that's perfectly fine. But I'm the type of person who, if I'm low on a fight, I'm like, oh my god, I suck at this, I'm terrible, why am I having such a hard time, I can't, blah 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 blah, and I'll just beat myself up over it. I'll be at work all week going, why did I pull such low damage in the raid on Saturday? Oh my god, I gotta fix this before Friday, what's happening? And if you're that kind of person, you need to understand these specs are so very close right now that you can switch some things out and actually increase your character by doing what people say not to do.
Yeah, it's very true. It is very, very true. So I'm going to briefly talk about professions, only because there were only two things they really actually said that kind of stood out. First, Obliteratium was not as good as we thought it was going to be. And nobody is actually enjoying the Obliteratium. Might be because of the fact that it takes forever to disenchant everything. Could be that.
Well, and you put so much work into it, and then you're getting items that, like, in our situation right now, if you bought enough Obliteratium to upgrade an 815 item level all the way, you'd get it to 855, right?
865 now.
865 now.
Yeah.
You just spent what, 60 or 70,000 gold on top of buying the item.
Yep.
And you got an 865, which there's a fairly good chance you can do a world quest and it proc and you get an 865.
I know. So it was kind of like, well, yeah, actually, Obliteratium seems kind of relatively pointless.
So,
and I'm glad that Blizzard actually, stepped up and said, yeah, this was not a very good idea.
Oh, me too. And like, to those people who have a ton of gold and just, because I have a friend who just bought a bunch of crafted gear, upgraded with Obliteratium, was totally cool with that because he has like 3.2 million gold. And if I had that kind of gold, I'd probably be cool with that too.
Yeah.
But I don't, and I was like, I ain't doing that. I'm not.
Yeah, it's so Matt's extensive to actually do anything like that.
I hate to see the amount of gold he had before he did that, because he had 3.2. I kid you not, he bought every piece of gear. Like, every piece of gear he has got was bought and upgraded. And I was just like, are you kidding me? Like, you had to have spent hundreds of thousands of gold on that.
And it's like, yeah, I did.
He's like, yeah, I got 3.2 million left. And I'm like, oh my God, you are insane. Like, I couldn't even imagine having that kind of gold.
Yeah. So the other good one, and by a show of hands, and I know that we can't see you guys, but go ahead, raise your hand. Raise your hand if you actually enjoy cooking and learning your patterns from Nami, who apparently is the most complicated, set up ever for any sort of a pattern learning thing that they needed to create an entire add-on for it. So that
I've heard my wife curse more about that than I've ever heard her curse about any profession in this game.
So for you guys that actually raised your hands, you're sadistic pricks. But they're acknowledging the fact that Nami is not so fun. They're acknowledging it. What are they going to do to fix it? We don't know. But they acknowledged it, and that's what really matters at the heart of it. You know, maybe there will be free Nami cooking day. That's a good microtransaction day, where you know everything that should be burnt is not actually burnt by Nami. Maybe that's the day that people get their cooking up to 800. I don't know. But yeah. So that was it. That's 7.1 that has, as they said, it's a mini patch. But that's a ton of stuff that they're still adding in a mini patch.
Yeah, I feel like that's a lot of stuff for considering that we've had things added in the past that were called just patches. They didn't put the mini in front of it that had, I don't know, like 20 less things than that in them.
And Twitter integration was an entire Twitter integration. You know, so this is still a fairly large patch that is about to hit the PTR on Tuesday. Like, on Tuesday. Not we're waiting a couple extra weeks or 3 or 4 weeks or anything like that. No, that's going up right after BlizzCon here. So good on you guys. We love this whole idea and this whole new direction. So that would have been enough. Okay, that would have been enough. I would have been satisfied with hearing about that. But they also decided to unveil 7.2 Tomb of Sargeras. Actually, that's just kind of fun to say. Tomb of Sargeras. Well, this is going to be absolutely massive. Holy crap. Like, they're adding in a new faction. Meh. They're going to continue the Order Hall campaign. Meh. That's those are kind of, you know, part and parcel with everything that would be a large patch. They're adding in new world quests, including class-specific world quests. Mind-blowing. Don't know why that wasn't a thing to begin with. Just don't understand why it was not a thing to begin with. It only makes sense, especially if we're supposed to be the leaders of our class halls. Having class-specific world quests would have made sense. But we're getting them. That's absolutely great. We are going to be pushing towards the Tomb of Sargeras and fortifying it and creating it into a base. We are taking over the Tomb of Sargeras. I thought the Legion would take it over, but no, we're going to fight back, and we're going to take it, and it is not going to be a linear progression this time. We're going to be able to do it the way that we want to do it. And I'm like, yay! That's absolutely awesome. Maybe they'll explain some extra things. We are getting Legion Assault. This is awesome. Invasions are going to randomly happen in the Broken Isles. I don't know why it's just, to the Broken Isle. I would say that, hitting the rest of Azeroth would have made sense, but putting them in the Broken Isles, still a good idea. They're going to be slightly different than what we did in the pre-expansion launch, which, okay, good stuff, because those were kind of long and cumbersome. But wow, that's pretty great. What do you think about all of that so far?
I think that the Legion Assaults are a wonderful idea. I mean, we had talked about in the past that we didn't understand why they didn't keep them going. I assume they're limiting them to Broken Isles because, one, it's going to count towards the world quests and emissary quests and stuff like that, and two, I think they'd be afraid people would take advantage of them if they were out and about in the world, which I don't disagree. Now we have phasing, which would stop that, but maybe they just don't want to, mess with that. But I think the invasions are a wonderful idea. I agree that like the new faction the new Order Hall campaign stuff, the new World Quest. That was all very expected.
Yeah.
Now, awesome of them to put it in. Anything they add to the game at this point is just, icing on the cake for me. But yeah, those things were kind of expected. These Legion assaults are something that I did not see coming, and I think it's a wonderful idea. Something new and different and just incredible.
Yep. Now, it is confirmed. It is official. Flying will be back in 7.2. I kind of thought it would be a little bit longer of a wait than 7.2. I figured it'd be like 7.2.5 micro flying transaction day. But no, we're actually going to get that. We're going to get the second part of the Pathfinder achievement. This time there will be no raid or dungeon content required. You're just going to do outdoor world gameplay. Gotta say that's kind of great. I honestly think that they didn't even need to have the second part of it. They could have just did away with the second half of the Pathfinder achievement. It's still fairly cumbersome to do. I'm not even finished it yet. The reward of the faster ground mount is rewarding enough for people to want to do the Pathfinder achievement. It's just there's so much else to do that it takes a backseat. But flying will be here. Yay! That makes me excited. They also announced that after the Night Hold, the Tomb of Sargeras will be a raid. Okay? So that makes sense as we're taking the foothold and we're fighting back. There's going to be 9 bosses in the Tomb of Sargeras, which was the Temple of Elune, which is great. Now I find this kind of find this funny. We don't know all of the 9 bosses. There will be an Infernal Pit Lord type boss, which is kind of cool. But the second last boss is a fallen avatar of Sargeras. Not an avatar of Sargeras, and Kill Jaden, or as Poke likes to call him, Kill Jodin, will be the final boss of that. I'm like, mind blown. We're actually going to kill Jaden. Not an avatar, but actually kill Jaden.
I mean, they didn't say we're going to kill him, so
yeah, that's true. That is true.
Maybe he escapes last minute with a shred of his health, and he'll be back to destroy us all again.
Yeah, that seems plausible. Actually, that's what's scary. That's actually kind of what's scary. Now we're gonna get a new dungeon, Cathedral of the Eternal Night. It is a 4-boss dungeon. I like these ideas of doing smaller dungeons. Which is going to have normal, heroic, mythic, and mythic plus difficulty. And yes, that's great.
I was very surprised with the normal, and the heroic. I thought it would just be added as a mythic plus again. I'm glad that they're adding new stuff for those that are leveling or just hitting 110 to gear and things like that.
Well, they also announced at the same time that Karazhan is going to be queuable. It's going to be random. It's going to be a heroic and a mythic plus as well. You're going to be able to do it in 2 different parts, the upper and lower. Now, I am pretty sure I know the reason why. Okay? Nobody is going.
Is this tinfoil hat or
no. Nobody is actually doing Karazhan. It is so long,
it's, so hard, so long, and doesn't again return that effort with reward that would inspire you to do that level of work.
Yeah. I got messaged by a guild member the other day going, "Hey, guess what? I'm going to do Karazhan. I'm like, oh, okay, well, I'll see you in about 4.5 hours. He's like, nah, it'll take about an hour. I've got a group that's 780 or 870. And I'm like, oh, okay, well, I'll see you in about 4 hours. And he's like, nah, it's still only going to take maybe an hour and a half at the very longest. I went to bed, I woke up, and sitting in my Real ID messages was, you're right. It took 4.5 hours. I'm like, see? A mega dungeon was a good idea on paper. But
well, and
on
like
paper,
splitting it into two pieces isn't a bad idea.
No.
And then also, it's not just the fact that it's a mega dungeon. Some of that stuff is super overtuned right now. Like,
oh yeah,
like
that second boss is cruel
You
on
almost have
every
to-
level.
yeah, and it's not like getting the mechanics down. I was in there with a group that had the mechanics, and it's the fact that in a lot of cases, a lot of classes are having to outgear the fight to do the fight.
Yep.
With like even some tanks, like I've read, I won't say what tanks because I don't want to offend anybody, but there are some tanks that are going in there that are just getting rocked by some of those bosses and just can't do it.
Yep.
And that like that's disheartening. Yes, I wanted it to be difficult, but I didn't want it to be so difficult that you had to outgear it to do it.
Yep.
You know?
Yep. Now this one I found kind of interesting. Other than, they're adding more traits to the artifact weapon. I'm not sure if I'm okay with this. I've flip-flopped on this one a lot.
Okay. I like the idea. I'm trying to think of a tactful way to say this without sounding like I'm bitching or moaning, because I don't want to sound like I'm bitching or moaning. Okay, we're adding new traits to the artifact. Do you know, are these traits coming before or after your final elite ability?
I honestly don't. I don't completely know.
Because it would really suck for people who have not got to that final elite ability to have to finish something else before they can get their final elite ability, because there will be people who have obviously gotten their final elite ability by 7.2.
Yeah. And then this is why I'm all like, I'm not sure how I feel about this, because I'm getting to that stage now where I'm starting to look down the barrel of ending my 35 levels on my weapon and starting to think, okay, so I'm going to either continue building my artifact weapon with my hidden elite ability, or not. And then they announce this. Those people that actually have already done it, because it is possible to be at level 35 right now. At this present moment, it is possible. You were crazy, but you could have done it. Now, are they going to get their points back? Or is it more advantageous that once you hit level 35 and instead of putting stuff into your elite ability, hold on to all of your artifact power, continue collecting your artifact knowledge, and then the minute they launch this, go ahead and just go, I'm going to eat all of my artifact power, and you get all of your new abilities. And those people that actually went ahead and took the 5% extra armor for each point that you put in, are they going to get screwed?
Yeah. And this is how the thing reads. It says further empower your artifact new traits, including a gold border, 1, 3 points with utility, which I assume is going to be something completely new that adds utility to each class.
Shaman can live.
The ability to live, 1 point. Yes. Also allows you to put another point into all of your 3-point traits. Okay. Sure, let me do that real quick, but does that mean if I'm, again, one of these people who haven't filled out my weapon? Am I going to have to put those points in? Do I only have to put 3 to move on to the next thing, or am I going to now have to put 4 in it to move on to the next thing?
Yeah, like
this is very confusing, and it could very quickly cause some very angry people.
Yeah, I completely agree. Now, oh man. So normally when there's Druid news, I get really excited. Druid tanks are getting a werewolf bear style skin.
Do you know why? With you being a druid, I would assume you know why, or is there no reason why? They're just
There's just no reason why.
Oh shit! Okay.
I
kind of looked at this going.
I even tried thinking this through, and I'm like, why? Why? I'm a werebear. And it looks kind of stupid. Like, it looks really kind of stupid. It's I think people were just upset that they lost the ability for the claws of the Shivra, and now they're gonna give them to druids or to druid bears as well. Congratulations, you're a werebear. I can wander around Stormwind going, look, I'm Darrick Scary Bear. Grr. Look at my forearms that are bigger than my head. But really,
Please
it doesn't. I
Please.
will. I totally will.
Please
I
go
will.
around doing that.
I will.
Great.
And I will make sure that everybody knows that I'm going, grr, arg, grr. Disco Bear was already kind of far-fetched out there. I'm not sure if you've seen this, the neon skins that we've got. That one was kind of weird. So it makes you look like you're a glowing disco ball. That blue one is it's painful on the eyes. But these werebears are kind of ridiculous, and there's no reason. Like, it's just there. It's like maybe you'll get maybe that's a reward for a micro holiday.
There you go. Yeah, that'd be great.
That's about it. And I know that it sounds like I'm bitching, and I am. I don't think that this is not something I need in my life. I don't think that this is going to make my bear any better. It
makes me ask, like, why did we spend time on this? This is something completely redundant to me.
Yeah.
But...
Yeah. No, I'm a werebear. Grr. Arg. The one thing though that I will say that is kind of nice is the warriors are going to finally get their flail weapon.
See, and this is just as mundane, really, as the werewolf bear.
Yeah.
But this is something that's actually really, really cool. Like,
yeah.
it almost made me want to level my freaking warrior. I think it's great, but
yeah.
I don't know. Sometimes Blizzard does things, and I just have to wonder why.
Yeah. So. Tinfoil hat moment. Who's the final boss of this expansion?
A giant werewolf bear.
It's a giant werebear. Yeah. Ursoc, the werebear. He would make a final great boss.
Yeah.
He'll be challenging to beat.
Yeah, he deserves to be an end boss.
Yeah, like nobody gives enough credit to the werebear. Nobody. No, like,
brother.
I kind of was expecting that by this point we would know beyond a shadow of a doubt. Like, I mean, yes, we can all make the assumption that Sargeras is going to be the final boss. It's the only thing that would make sense, or a reanimated Varian.
Ooh, don't say things like that.
Yeah, like, that would make some sense. But we still don't actually know. And I'm getting kind of concerned that we're going to end up with Manaroth 3.0. Or
Archimond again.
Yeah, like, hey, We got this guy. His name is Archimond. He's in the Twisted Nether. Let's put him out there. He'll make a good final boss. Yes, he will. And this was the right expansion to use him as a final boss, not last expansion. Or are we gonna get like Arthas 2.0? People forgot about him, so we're gonna throw him in here, and it's gonna set up Wrath of the Lich King 2, Warth of the Lich King, starring Jaina Proudmoore. I don't completely know, and that actually has me concerned.
Now, the other night when you asked this in Guild, didn't someone say Jaina Proudmoore?
It was going to be the final boss of this expansion, and I'm like...
How jacked up would that be?
Almost as jacked up as Archimond was for Warlords Draenor.
I would just be like, oh god, I'm done.
Yeah, just like... Why are you guys just throwing characters in all willy-nilly? Yes, Jaina would be a great final boss. There's reason behind it. Way more reason than Archimond was for Warlords of Draenor. But to just throw her in as the final boss would be kind of silly. Just straight up silly. Like, oh, Khadgar, I am mad at you. You took over my Cure Torn, and you are letting the Horde in. I'm going to besmirch you. And you're just like, what? This doesn't make any sense. Why are you helping the Legion now, you dumb woman? I get it. You had a mana bomb dropped on your precious Theramore. You're having a hard time with the Horde, but putting her in as the final boss would be a big effing mistake. Like, huge effing mistake. Now, would Sargeras be the proper final boss for this?
Well, I mean, we're supposed to be going to Argus, so
yeah. They did let that slip. That's going to be our final zone, and that's going to be our final raid. So I don't know. Sargeras seems like it would be too early to actually take down Sargeras.
Yeah, I mean,
because then all of a sudden the Legion.
Time, there's kind of a bigger bad than Sargeras at this point now too. So.
And who is that?
We'll leave that for a separate conversation. But there's somebody on the planet of Argus that is as powerful or maybe more powerful than Sargeras. So.
Okay. Well, you're obviously not going to give spoiler alerts, and I mean, this was kind of one of those things that would be poking at lore in 5 minutes. So who is it? Because actually, I don't even know this one.
Okay. So Argus is a stronghold for the Legion, right? And there are other, whatever you want to call them, demons, powerful entities that are on that planet.
Yeah.
So there are, first of all, many different ones that are waiting there. One of them is let's see here. I don't want to say that it's in Naru, but it kind of, sort of is. And that...
It's an evil Naru?
Of sorts. And at least if you read into everything and you keep... You read all the different stuff they've put out about the different things that are happening on Argus, yes, you assume that there is something else there besides just like Sargeras, Kil'jaeden, Velen, who was there, of course. There are tons of Eridar mages, and there are Awakeners on the planet, which tells me that there's something more there than just demons. So it would not surprise me to see a huge plot twist. This is a very tinfoily moment.
Okay.
But it would not surprise me for us to see a huge plot twist when we go to the planet and find that there's something more there besides just Sargeras.
Well, even if they did that, putting Sargeras in as the final boss, and we have to work with whatever it was that is there, that becomes now a new playable class for the for Wrath of the Lich King 2, Wrath of the Lich King, starring Jaina Proudmoore. Yeah, I'm gonna stick to that name too. I don't know. I don't know. If you take out Sargeras, okay? If we actually take out Sargeras, the Legion is done. Or, Rathian will take over the Legion or something, You take away the biggest threat ever.
And that's why it wouldn't surprise me for us to maybe see Sargeras be the last boss, but this isn't the end of the crap storm.
Yeah, and then afterwards, after we do Wrath of the Lich King 2, The Wrath of the Lich King, starring Jaina Proudmoore, they're gonna have to create something else, another real entity, another real entire lore point. I mean, yeah, by that point, Rathian will be old enough to be a raid boss, and we'll have to do Dragon Soul 2, the Electric Boogaloo. But then after that, we have nothing. We legitimately have nothing. So I don't know. Having Sargeras as the final boss seems like it might be kind of too soon, because it's really starting to wrap up World of Warcraft.
Well, like I said, I feel like we may hit that planet, and there may be something there that killing Sargeras won't bring such an end to everything.
Yeah, that Sargeras was actually holding something else back.
Yes, or was the front man for some other force or something of that nature. I mean, I don't know if it would be like a Naru, or if it would be maybe an old god of some sort, but I feel like there's a bigger bad there than we know about, and we're probably going to find that out when we go to Argus.
That's actually, I never really actually thought about that, to be completely honest, and that's actually kind of a good idea. What do you guys think? Why don't you hit us up over on Twitter, email us, let us know what you guys think. Is Sargeras going to be the final boss, or is it going to be something else? Poke, why don't you tell people how they can get in touch with us?
I can do that. If you want to get in touch with us as a whole, please hit us up on Twitter, and you can hit us up at KOD Gaming 1.
You can get. We haven't done this in a while.
We have not.
I'm sorry, I just cut you off there. Why don't you go ahead, tell people how they can get in touch with you.
Well, I was going to actually say, if you want to email us, you can email us at knightsofdeathbridgegaming@gmail.com. Hit us up as a whole on Facebook at facebook.com/knightsofdeathbridge. And if you want to get in touch with me personally on Twitter, you can hit me up at PokeSoul.
You can get in touch with me at Derek_Scott. Yeah, that's it. That's it.
That's it. Remember,
so
check us out on YouTube and comment there as well, though, because it's a great way to get a hold of us, and there's some interesting conversations that happen in those comments.
Really is. There really is. Now, last episode we did something different, and we created our own sponsor. Well, okay, we're randomly creating sponsors by picking something else completely different. Last week was Jinx t-shirts. So I don't know. Who do we do this week, Poke?
I don't know. This was all you, man.
So then I feel that it is now a good time to talk about SteelSeries. SteelSeries gaming peripherals are absolutely fantastic, with great customer quality, great customer service, and they've got a brand new headset out that is not a Siberian. Oh, did I make that gross? It's a Siberian, not a Siberian. It's a husky or a adult toy for females. So guys, head on over to steelseries.com and add the code off the record for 30% off all of your purchases, and make sure that you say hello. Alrighty, guys.
You can at least say 1%, so that way people aren't devastated by not getting 30%. Come on, man.
Oh, come on! When you're talking about adult toys in an ad, people can't be taking this seriously. I really hope they're not taking us seriously and putting in that code. Although it could be kind of funny to see it work.
That's true.
And so we didn't get any angry emails from Jinx. I was expecting an angry email, a phone call saying cease and desist. We never got that. So we're just going to keep randomly picking things until we get a cease and desist. Or we get an actual sponsor.
That would be great.
Oh, man. You know what would be really good?
What's that?
Getting a sponsor like Tweaked Audio.
That would be good.
Maybe next week you should do a Tweaked Audio ad. I think that you're probably actually pretty good at it.
I mean, I think, yeah. I mean, we could probably do that.
We could probably do a Tweaked Audio. I bet you could dust that old one off, throw it up there, and see what happens. See if it sticks. Anyways, guys, well, this has been Warcraft Nightly News, and we want to thank you very much for sticking with us for the 700th episode. Ro, yes, I'm going to continue doing it because that was one hell of a great little spot. Each week we're going up an extra 100 episodes, so well done, sir. Well done. I'm Darrick Scott.
And I'm Poke.
And remember, kids, it's all fun and games until you join Boat Day and you get the clap. Then it really is like Cancun. You guys have yourselves a wonderful week.